So this time we're going to look at making some basic pieces of mail. You can see I've got a little example piece here. Depending on the size of your links or rings, sometimes we call them jump rings, you will get, you might have big gaps in between it. It might be really, really tight. For me, if I went much smaller than this sort of ring diameter, it would make it very, very hard to manipulate the rings to get things in. Now, you notice I have a small piece here. Often what we do is we work with small pieces, because if I'm trying to work with a large piece, like the one I have over here, this is really, really heavy. And when I'm using my pliers to work on the rings, they're not that big. And that means I've got a lot of weight, a lot of stress on my fingers, on my wrists. One of the things I've done is I've removed the sharpness of the grip, so a little bit of a filing work there, and that stops it from scratching the metal so much. Not a big deal because I'm using stainless steel 304 and that's pretty tough, but still. So I have a 4-to-1 process for making mail. First thing I do is I start off with one of my open rings, so like that. Now the thing about open rings, as you see, I took one and it brought 4 out. So if you need to work with them, it's really handy to spread a few out. So I'm going to grip it with this one and get myself a few out, ready to go. Spread it out and hope that that doesn't become too much of a pain. All right, so that's there. Let's get this little guy out of the way. All right, then I have my individual closed rings. These are really nice and easy to work with because they don't get stuck on anything. But I said my rule was 4-2-1. So to get started, I'm going to put 4 rings onto like that. Now, what I want to do is to bend my ring close. There we go. So that's nice and closed. But like I've talked about before, I like to make my rings nice and solid. So let's give it a little bit of press. And I just want to have that feel with my fingers. Just make sure that it feels like it's not going to catch. It's going to catch on everything. It's going to be a real pain. So let's put it down and see what we've got. All right, that fell down nicely. If it doesn't, you can just manipulate it with your fingers. I've got there my basic shape. 4 rings around 1, because this is the European 4-in-1 weave. Next thing I need to do is I'm going to extend it upwards. If I'm going to extend this upwards, well, let me grab one of my links down here. So I said 4-2-1. So my next step then is to get 2 closed rings. You'll notice the 4 and the 2, funnily enough, referring to the closed rings. So do that. Now, this is perhaps one of the hard bits to get used to, but once you've done it, it's then very easy. Just pick it up with your fingers and still maintain that shape. So you can see I've got that there. Following the way that the angular center one is, and a lot of it's just looking at where does it go down and where does it go up. So I loop down through the one close to me and loop up through the one away from me. I move it around so that I've got a nice grip there. Because when you don't have good grip with your pliers, you are just fighting every bit of force. It's way too hard. And there, and again, I just give it a little bit of a press. Whether that's a good idea or not, well, we'll see. And drop it down and you go, I can't see it. So try it again. Drop it down and you can almost see it. Now, I heartily recommend just checking each time that you've got the shape that you want. So I start off with 4. I added 2 more closed rings using 1 open ring. I'm going to do that one more time just because I think it's a little bit easier to work with to show you. And then we're going to go to the 1. If I need to, I can just lay it out. See like that, that's no good. I go, I can't see anything. So I just use my fingers and manipulate it until I'm comfortable that I've got it. This is very hard using the camera. If you ever get stuck, by the way, you can just go and put it back down and see it again. Here we go. So I've got that there. See? So again, I'm going to follow this existing one here. You can sort of see how it goes under and comes back up. So that's what we do. We go under. And if I was left-handed, for me, I'd be doing this sort of controlling with the opposite fingers. And perhaps that might show you as to why then the ring direction, the bending that I've done would be different. There we go. So I've got that around. Hold it, my pliers. Long-handled pliers might make this a little bit easier because you get more leverage, but yeah. Let's go now have a look, drop that down. And we roughly get our shape out. Let's just fix that up. And then, there we go. So a little bit of a sanity check. We've got our shape there. That's great. We've had the 4 to start it, the 2 to extend it upwards. Now, this one is a little bit tricky. I'm going to expand it to the side. You'll notice here, I've still got 2. And that's where my 4, 2, and 1 is a little bit, 4, 2, 2/1. And the reason is, I'm going to start off with 2 links to expand to the side, but then I go to 1. And I'll show you how that works. So, I've got this link here, and so see along the side, and you'll notice that I'm going to follow, again, this link that's coming around. It goes down and it comes up. So I'm going to come down the first, come from underneath the first one and then underneath there. And that creates a similar angle as that previous loop. Now if I flatten that out, so look and see, it's often messy when you've got just a few pieces. It all falls into shape much better when you've got more. Okay, so there we've got our initial start. Now this is where the 1 comes in. So I grab my single loop, it goes around my closed one. And what I'm going to do is I really need to follow, again, that pattern that we've got going around, down and up. And to do that, I'm going to actually go circle into this, that link there, that link there, and that link there. So those 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, it's much easier to have in your hand. So I've got that shape. You notice I'm going to come down because same way this one goes down and in, I need to go down and in. I'm not connecting to those 2 links. I'm only connecting in to this top one here. 1, I come into this one next to it, 2 and 3. Now what you'll notice when I do that is this link, if I can go see, what you notice if I do it, this link here that I'm just touching with my nail, now has 1, 2, 3, and our open link still coming through it. That's the 4 links going in. So we're going to close that one off. Just get it around so that I've got a nice grip there to work with. Open it in. No, didn't quite bend it enough. So it's worth just taking that little bit of time because if you get that right, it just feels so much better. And my personal belief, we'll see in reality, but my personal belief then is that it is much, much more likely to hold together. It's not getting pulled apart all the time by forces as it catches. Now, so again, we're going to have a look at this and we're going to go through the link here down into that, following the way this one does. We're going to go down into that. Then this one here, we're going to come up and up out of that one. Got to get that shape right first. If you don't have your shape right, you're not going to connect into all the right links. So here we go. So we're going to follow this pattern here. We go down, in, and up, and up. Up, and up. Down. Alright, so there's our basic Maille pattern. Let's go and just have a look in a little closer. So if you have a look at any one link that's not on the edge, you'll see that there are 4 other links running through it. So that's what we're always aiming for when we're doing our basic setup. Right, so if we have a look at this one here, you notice, by the way, we're starting to form a bit of a pattern. You'll see this with our sections going along this way. along that way, and you sort of end up with, I suppose, a bit of a herringbone pattern coming back and forth. Now, if I want to expand on this, I'm going to continue by adding to the end. Remember, I was adding to the end, I do 2. So that. So it's 2 close links. Hold with my fingers. Right. Bend that in. I'll give you that view. Just enough, apply pressure. Check with my fingers, make sure it's good. Put it down. I need to blend it out. Let's have a look. There we go, should be good. There we go. So I can close off that row if I want, just by adding another one. Now, remember, if I'm not starting a new one going sideways here, going off to the right, if I'm just continuing one up, and you can sort of see there's a missing bit there, so I'm continuing up, that's when I just use the 1. So down, up through the first one, and then up through that second one. Close it off. I love it when I hear that click. It tells me I've got a nice tight finish. There we go. Drop down. Give it a shake out. Sometimes it goes quite weird and you can think you've stuffed it up. But once you actually lay it out nicely, it comes out. Now, that's the basic pattern. I like to end up with pieces of around this sort of size to begin with. So you have pieces of this sort of size, you can connect them together. But if you have bigger and bigger pieces, as I said before with the giant piece, if you have bigger and bigger pieces, it just becomes too heavy on the hands to work.